Welcome back, everybody. We're still busy with exponents. So today we're going to do some laws of operations when we work with exponents. Okay. So first thing is when we add, subtract, multiply, or divide numbers in exponent forms, we rewrite them as natural numbers. If you only get this one, this is the most important message. So when they ask us, like for example, this square root of 9 times the square root of 9, it sounds so difficult. But we can easily rewrite it in its natural number. Square root of 9 is 3 times 3 gives us 9. I'm going to rewrite it to make sure that you get it. Square root of 9, so it's easy. That is 3 times 3, so that equals 9. Okay. On the other hand, if they ask us 3 squared times 3 squared, again, it is 9 times 9, and that gives us 81. So the first thing to remember is to always rewrite the exponent forms in its natural numbers. Okay, let's do more examples. We have to add 2 to the power of 3 plus 2 to the power of 3, right? So we're just going to multiply 2 times 2 times 2, that is that section, plus 2 times 2 times 2. So 2 times 2 times 2 is 8 plus 8, and our answer is 16. Easy, right? Now we have to subtract 6 to the power of 2 minus 5 to the power of 2. So 6 times 6 minus 5 times 5. And always remember, what are the order of operations? We do the multiplication area first. So 6 times 6 is 36. 5 times 5 is 25. 36 minus 25 is 11. Good. Now, just a reminder that I thought of on the previous slide. Can you remember the order of operation? If you have to complete this one, 3 plus 4 times 4, what must you do first? Correct. Multiplication and division. So your answer will not be 7 times 4. What will your answer be? 3 plus 4 times 4 is 16. That is going to give us 19. Congratulations. Well done if you remembered that. Okay, now another reminder from the previous lesson. What is a perfect square? Now, numbers that have natural numbers as their square roots are called perfect squares. Okay, so we can think of your perfect squares from 1 to 12. Let's say 2 times 2 equals 4. A perfect square, that is a natural number. For example, 9. 9 is a perfect square. And if you do the root, you see this, the root of 9 is also 3. But the number 10, is that a perfect square? So if you try and find the perfect square of 10, of the answer, the root of 10, you're not going to find the perfect square. Why not? Let's see. How do you know that so well? Because 3, the perfect square is 9, and 4 is 16. 3 and 4 are natural numbers. So we know that in between there's 10, but then it will not be a natural number. Got it? So now you can work on your calculator and try and work this out. And but we're going to show you now, by trial and error, you can sort of guess more or less where it will be. Because even on this one, you can see it's very close to 9, the square root of 9 is very close to 10, right? So you can almost guess that the answer will be closer to 3 than to 4. Can you understand that? So the actual answer is 3.1622776. Okay, that is what we will get on a calculator. But if we sort of estimated the answer, remember our estimation in one of the previous lessons? The purpose of that is to check our answer to make sure to also to do a calculated guess based on information that we have. And we know that 3 is the square root of 9 is 3, and the square root of 16, so we know that it will fall somewhere there. Can you see what I wrote at the bottom here? Whether you can still remember your first 12 perfect squares. Now I want you to stop this, quickly write them down. I'm not going to give you the answer because you've got your multiplication chart and you've got it on a previous slide, but please check that you remember them. Okay, now, what if I alluded to with the square root of 10, okay, is that if it's not, we have to sometimes just estimate an answer. So to work out the square root of a number, you can use the method of what we call trial and improvement. This is a method of solving a problem using estimations. Remember what I said? To get close to the answer. So I'm teaching you this because in higher grades, you are going to study and you're going to really use this. So this is just to introduce you to trial and improvement. Let's do an example. If you have to work out the value of the square root of 15, we know, what do we know? The answer has to be bigger than 3 because 3 times 3 is 9. And we also know that the answer is less than 4, very similar to the previous one, remember, of 10, because 4 to the power of 2 is 16. And we know it will be between 3 and 4, okay, somewhere there. And we know that it will not be a natural number. So we know then that 15 is not a perfect square. Those are all things that we know. So you can work out the approximate answer. Now in this case, if we say 15 is much closer to 16 than to 9. So if you're going to guess your answer, you're going to think that it's going to be closer to 4 than to 3. Remember, 10 was closer to 3. And the actual answer, you see, we use that sign if it's not exact. It will be closer to 4. So it's 3.87. Now, how do we do this? If your teacher asks you to work out the value of square root of 11 by using the trial and improvement method, then, you know, I like my tables. Then you're going to do your little table and you're going to say, I'm going to try my perfect squares, my 9 and my 16. So you know 3 is 9, so it's too small. You're going to write there, too small. 4 is 16, it's too big. So now the first thing you can do is to go midway, 3.5. So you can use a calculator and work out, but we're not using calculators. We're going to work it out. So 3.5 times 3.5 will give us 12.25. And we decide, well, this is still a little bit too big, right? So now we sort of estimate that the answer will rather be between 3 and 3.5. So we're going to say, let's go midway, 3.25. Again, we're going to multiply 3.25 and 3.25, and we're going to get 10.56. So for the purposes of grade 7 work, this is close enough. So it is close to 11. And so we say, okay, it will be round about 3.25. If you use your calculator, you'll see that the actual answer is 3.31. Isn't that fun? So we just try to work out it by using our brains. Cool. Now let's do something together. It's a nice mishmash of what we know up to now. So pause the slide, do it, and then I'm going to see you on the other side. Okay, I hope you've managed. The first two are easy. You look at your multiplication charts, or did you do it on your own? 11 to the power of 2. What is that? 11 times 11, and that equals 121. And 9 to the power of 2, 9 times 9, and that equals 81. But now they ask us, without the calculator, found the square root of 4,900. So we are going to do our little table that I explained to you in the previous slide, this one, okay? So we are going to say, I wonder how many of you realize that 49 is actually a number that we know, okay? What is that? Square root of 7. 7 times 7 is 40. 49 is the square root of 7, right? 7 times 7 is 49. So now we've just got the zeros. So we can estimate. I really hope, I wonder how many of you thought like that. If you did, it is awesome, okay? So you're going to say, okay, the square root of 4900. So we're going to do the square root of 49 is 7. So we're going to guess if we make this 4900, 70 times 70 will give us 4,900. So we know that our answer is 70. So remember with zeros, we just can take them away to work easier, but then we must always remember to put them back. Okay, now the square root of 1. Remember our little thing on the square root of 1. And you know it's going to be 1 because 1 times 1 equals 1. So we know that our answer would be 1. Okay, so let's go to the next slide. They ask us to write in exponential form that expression. So that is 9 is our base, and our exponent is 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's 9 to the power of 4. Now this one, I wonder if you got this one. So that is, remember we always put it in natural numbers. So what's the square root of 36? It is 6. 6 times 6 is 36. Times 6, and this one then will be the same. So there we've written it in another form, and our base is 6, and our exponent will be 4. Congratulations if you managed to work that one out. Oh, they love to throw this question in a test. Now, they ask us to work out the square roots of the following numbers using trial and improvement, okay? So remember, we're going to have our little table. And they ask us, I'm going to draw my lines. And they ask us the square root of 20. Okay? So we know that 4 is 16. We know 5 equals 25. So we know that that is too small, and this is too big. So now we're going to start and work it out. So if we look at 16 and 25, we can sort of estimate that the answer would be in the middle. Do you agree with me? So it's like in the middle between 16 and 25. So let's try. It's always good to try with 4.5. So we're going to work out 4.5 times 4.5, and our answer is 20.25, and this is very close. Okay? So we're going to say that the square root of 20 is more or less 4.5. Right. I want you to, if you haven't done this, I want you to stop and do the square root of 50 on your own. And I'm going to show you just now that I've given you an example. Another example. Okay, let's see. Let's do the 50. Okay, so we draw again. We're going to draw our tables. So there's our 50. So we're going to know that 7, the square root of 49 is 7. So this is too small, but it is just, I'm going to put 3 L's. That is just too small to indicate how close to 50 that is. So we're not even going to go to 8. We know that our answer will be very close to 7, right? So we're simply going to start with 7.1 multiply by 7.1 because we know it's going to be very close. And if we multiply 7.1, we see our answer is 50.41. And for grade 7 purposes, it is within 1, so our answer will be fine, will be acceptable. So we can say that the square root of 50 is more or less 7.1. Isn't this fun? Okay, so I hope you enjoyed it. Please pause and go back to make sure that you understand. And then I see you next time.